I'm a cosplayer because it makes me feel good. You know, I go back to my mundane job and I live my mundane life, but then I go to these conventions and people are pulling out their phones like I'm some kind of celebrity. And it was like this high that I was chasing almost. So that was New York Comic Con 2014. We didn't post the video until January 15th. They had 20 plus hours of footage of me walking around in this interview and this and that, and they whittled it down to like 3 minutes and change. And we posted this video, and my God, did that thing go viral immediately. I think by the end of the first or second day, we had well over 3 million views. To this day, it's 17 million views and climbing, that one video. And that's what changed everything for me. Inside Edition sent a car to my house and interviewed me at the Palisades Mall. Entertainment, people, I mean, you name it. If it was at a media outlet, there was an article about me. And the most surreal thing was that there were people talking about me in countries and languages that I can't speak. And it's like, Peter Griffin, Robert Franzese. I'm like, these people are talking about me. Like, what did I do? I'm just dressed up like a cartoon character. I'm doing something that a million other people are doing. But I guess what set me apart from like the typical cosplayer is that I personified the character. I was able to improvise, I was able to voice act, and kind of pair all of that together to create the perfect storm. That's the real life Peter Griffin. And honestly, to this day, I mean, yes, you know, it's been financially kind to me over the years because now I have Cameo, I have a monetized YouTube channel, and that wasn't a straight, you know, to stardom kind of thing. I've learned some hard lessons about life, about trusting friends, and you know, I've had to start over again multiple times. You know, when I created my LLC, my friends didn't want to do it anymore, so I ended up having to buy them out and start over. Then another friend kind of like took advantage of me kind of like undervaluing myself, because that's always been one of my biggest problems. I've always undervalued myself, and that's probably why I haven't gone further with the Peter Griffin thing. And I ended up having to create a whole new YouTube channel and a whole new Facebook page, because that all got taken away from me. But from that, I don't know if it was spite or inspiration, but I ended up getting myself to learn how to edit my own videos, get the gear that I needed to shoot them professionally. And I'm a one-man production team now. And I have a silver play button on YouTube, which is insane. I think I'm at 322,000 subscribers on YouTube. I got over 600,000 on TikTok now. That was another one that they kind of dragged me into and landed me back on Inside Edition. Inside Edition ended up interviewing me a second time because of my TikTok, because I did, hey Lois, diarrhea, and people, 10 million views. You believe that? 10 million views. Hey Lois, diarrhea. Hey, I my kids one day, hey Dad, what's your legacy? Well, I have a long story about that, you know. And you know, it's to this day, I've never been great at making myself happy, but making you guys happy and getting a room to laugh is where I get my happiness from. I really do. I love absorbing and empathing the hell out of happiness that I bring out. And you know, if it's a simple "shut up, Meg," and people just, you know, that's it. It's all it takes. And it's really afforded me a lot of life experiences that I never would have had otherwise. I got a passport and went to Canada. Now I'm here in Texas. It's my very first time in Texas. I'm very excited to be here and meet all you lovely people and see a whole new set of smiling faces. Because, you know, I go to the same conventions over and over. I've been going to New York Comic Con almost every year since 2012 when I started going to it. And, you know, it kind of gets jaded when you do the same thing over and over again. The New York Comic Con is something to behold, don't get me wrong. It's a huge con. But I've always loved these kind of smaller cons because they're more intimate. You know, you get to meet people, you get to speak to people. At New York Comic Con, it's like, hey, can I grab a picture? And then it's like, all right, well, 40 other people are waiting for me to take a picture. So I really can't like get to have that little interaction. And I absolutely love it. And I'm sorry if I'm not doing this whole thing as Peter. I know people want the Peter thing. But yeah, it's really been a whole lot of fun. And I have my friend Mandy as my real life Lois. And no, we're not a couple, but we're incredibly close friends, and she's one of my best friends in the world, and we still do the real life Peter and Lois Griffin thing. And my friend Anya, unfortunately, is Meg. And my original Meg was Ivy Doom Kitty, if you guys have ever heard of that cosplayer. She's based out of California, and she went viral with cosplay long before I even did. And I ended up meeting her at a con called Atlantic City Boardwalk Con that they used to have. And she dressed up like Meg at that con so we could meet up, and we made some funny videos. But Anya was the one that stuck, because I actually, in 2018, threw my own convention. A lot of people don't realize. It was a little smaller con in Corona, Queens, where they had the original World's Fair in the 60s, and I believe in the 30s before that. And there's like the Queens Theater over there, and I fought the chicken live on stage at that con. Now, my original idea was to have a whole Family Guy themed convention, but we didn't have the capital to really pull off what my vision was. But I wanted to have a dunk booth with a Meg inside. And you just throw the ball and Meg gets dunked. We could have made a fortune off that. I would have spent my own money. But my friend Anya was a really good sport and offered to be the Meg for the dunk tank. We couldn't get the permit for the dunk tank, but she had already bought the stuff for Meg, so she ended up kind of becoming our de facto Meg. And now I have like this little, Griffin family, and my cousin's baby. I dressed him up like Stewie last year when I went to visit them in Pennsylvania last year. And that I did another TikTok with him when I tell him, when you poop in your dreams, you poop for real. And that's another one that went viral. And they played that on Inside Edition. I'm like, great. But it's just really funny, and to think like 10 years later, I'm still doing this thing. I'm still making people laugh with a cartoon character that came out over 20 years ago now. I mean,